This is a little clip from what we did last month.
Do you read the terms and conditions on an app on your phone before you actually upload it? Why not?
Not at all. There's nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that. All right, well, somebody did.
Angry Birds Terms of Service. The following Terms of Service and End User License Agreement.
Disse vilkårene alt for lange, alt for kompliserte til å forstå, til at du kan forvente at vi forbrukere faktisk vet hva vi sier ja til.
Bruk ikke innrammede løsninger, parentes, det vil si ikke bruke frames, parentes slutt.
Jeg har nok vært en av de som har trykt aksepter. Det umulig å forholde seg til, ikke bare fordi omfanget så stort, men også fordi det ganske teknisk og krevende juridisk å navigere i.
iTunes anvender slik informasjon for å kunne tilby Apple Music-tjenesten eller deler av Apple Music-tjenesten som gjelder for din bruk av Apple Music-tjenesten.
Om personvern og sikkerhet. Thank you so much for watching. That was extremely tiring. So as you saw, this stunt was basically just a stunt. We had actually 50,000 viewers watching this stream, and we don't have a TV channel. So it generated quite a lot of attention, actually worldwide. It was mentioned in more than 50 countries, China, Japan, US, Canada, everywhere. And I think that was because this is really something I think everyone has a smartphone, everyone has an app, and everyone has clicked I agree without really understanding what they agreed to. So what we did recently, we published a report in March. Some of you might have seen this before. We analyzed the mobile apps of 20 mobile apps on an average phone. We looked at social media services. We looked at fitness apps, so what we discussed yesterday. And we also looked at dating apps and a few other popular apps. We read the terms and conditions, and we also checked the mobile phone. So we hired some technicians to map the data flows, to see what data leaves the phone and where does it go. And then we compare that with what the terms said. And that gave us some very interesting results. And also what you see here, just for illustrative purposes, this is of course a qualitative assessment. We counted the number of words. We also looked at the uses of may or can, because for us that is, if you're a consumer and you want to read these terms and conditions that are very long, I mean this is longer than an average master thesis, if there's a lot of what we call hypothetical language, how can the consumer, even if they read the terms and conditions, understand what they're saying yes or no to? So we may do this, we may do that, we can do this, we can do that. It doesn't really inform the consumer about what actually happens. And we of course understand there are gray areas here, but we think that this could be improved. We also looked at are the privacy policies and terms, are they made in a clear language so that people can actually understand it? And are there efforts done to make it more readable? I mean, just basically the layout. And you see, this is our assessment. The good news is that a lot of these services that we looked at have now come with new terms. Snapchat has new terms. Tinder, hopefully coming with new terms. And Happen just launched new terms as well. So things are happening, which is good. And also, we assessed then terms vis-à-vis consumer law, which was a discussion earlier yesterday. We also, as consumer rights organization, we look at consumer law and data protection law together. Because these type of terms we deem as illegal according to the Unfair Contract Terms Directive. From our point of view, having terms where you can change the terms without giving any notice to the consumer are worthless from a consumer's point of view. How will you ever know what the terms are if you're not given notice, and also being able to then give your consent if the terms are to your liking or not, or take out your data and move to another service. So this is really important. I think Strava changed these terms after we published this. So on the fitness category, they all really failed when it comes to giving advance notice. This is really bad, we think, and we've been in touch with all of these companies since we published our report, and I think many of them will now change it, which is great news. We also looked at licenses, and here we come into the area of, again, we could use copyright law. We didn't do that. We looked at, again, use the Unfair Contract Terms Directive. And I'm sure, especially since there are so many lawyers here, you've read this before. And we see these licenses in quite a few places. I'll just read up, and this is how we see this then. By posting content as a part of the service, you automatically grant the company, its affiliates, we don't know who they are, it's not said anywhere, licensees, successors, an irrevocable, perpetual, so irrevocable, we can't call it back, perpetual is forever, non-exclusive, transferable, sub-licensable, fully paid up, worldwide right, license to use, copy, store, perform, display, reproduce, record, play, adapt, modify, and distribute the content, prepare derivative works of the content, or incorporate the content into other works, and grant and authorize sub-licensees of the foregoing in any media now known or hereafter created. When you read this, I know there are probably good reasons why companies write these terms, but when you read them, you get really scared, because basically, and this is a dating service, so Tinder. And of course, as a part of the testing, we had to actually download all the apps and create user profiles. And I got married last year, so I'm very happy, you know. But I had to sit down with my wife, and he said, I have to download this dating app. It's for work purposes, I promise. And this is what happened. So again, here, this is very interesting. When you see this license, and you see what happens when you register, these are the default settings with Tinder. I give them a birth date, which might be okay, a work experience, my education, but I also give all my pictures from Facebook. And I've been on Facebook for 9 years, and this is about 3,000 pictures are then, in theory, automatically translated to Tinder. And with this license, we have no other way of interpreting this, as they are taking ownership of all our pictures. And when we saw this, we talked, what do we do? And we did a few different things. And I'm going to show you now. This is the first thing we did. We went onto the streets of Oslo and asked people what they thought about these type of terms. And these are, all the people in this clip have consented to be a part of the video. And I'm going to show you very briefly what we did.
Kjæresten min.
Er det kjæresten din?
Ja, hvordan har du fått tak i ham?
Unnskyld, er dere interessert i å kjøpe et bilde? Private pictures? Funnet på...
Etter min smak var de litt for privat.
Jeg lurer på om jeg har solgt et bilde av deg til en fyr. Have you used the app?
Kan du bare ta bildet som jeg sender da?
Hadde det vært greit hvis jeg hadde hatt et bilde av dere og solgt det videre. Alle krysser jo av på den der at de har lest den der vilkårgreia.
Ja, nå, det har jeg gjort.
Vi har voksne, vi har barn, vi har i alle aldre, private bilder. But did you know that you give away the rights to your pictures?
No.
But you clicked like the terms and conditions.
That's right.
Yeah. Did you read it?
I don't think anybody reads that.
No.
På nakenbilder.
Nei, ja, det er det går mye av det.
I sommer når de har vært og badet i,
Ja.
så har de tatt en
So
sånn
this guy actually found his girlfriend.
Hvis jeg plutselig skulle sett ungen min da, for eksempel, på et bilde her, det er jo faktisk ikke greit.
Jeg synes jo det er helt urimelige vilkår hvis de har den muligheten til at de bare kan selge bilder som som folk tar og legger ut.
Obviously, there are many, as we talked about yesterday, many shades of gray when it comes to this. But for us, when it comes to this as a dating service, which is extremely private, we decided to file a complaint. So we filed a complaint to the Norwegian Consumer Ombudsman in March against Tinder, where basically we said these terms are unfair according to the Unfair Contract Terms Directive. So even though Norway is not an EU member, we have the EEA, as we talked about yesterday, so we use EU law. This is what happened. And now Tinder is in a dialogue with the Consumer Ombudsman and have indicated they are going to change these terms for the better. Because what we've realized is these terms are very often copy-paste, and they don't actually mean what they say in these terms. So we're thinking, why not just change them? So I think Tinder is going to do that, which is great. And obviously this case got a lot of attention. Here is the favorite person, Max Schrems, tweeting about it, and it went global. And I guess we talked about negative press yesterday, that one of the reasons why data protection compliance and consumer rights compliance is important is not only because these are rights, but it's also because the bad press relating to breaching them can be devastating for the business. I don't think we crushed Tinder. I think it's still very popular. But at least we created enough fuss that changes are happening. Also, one of the reasons why we've been doing this work on mobile phones, and we're going to continue working on mobile phones, is because, as you all know in this room, you're professionals in this field, things have changed since the laptop days. When, if you use Google Maps now, you have to, on a computer, you click yes every time they want to use your location. But on a phone, generally speaking, and there's a difference, of course, between iPhone and Android here, so I'm generalizing, you ask for permission once. And this is a quote from a marketing magazine explaining just that point. And this is why it is important for us to monitor phones more closely, also because we also know they collect much, much more detailed information than a laptop ever did. That's why it's important for us to care. So we did the second part of it. So the first part was reading and analyzing the terms. And the second part was checking what the phones actually do. And this is one of the terms we got really excited about, because Happen is another dating service, just like Tinder. It's French, and it had a really good privacy policy. And it said this: Happen commits never to share your details with any other member or with any third party. Your email address and your real identity are strictly confidential and will never be disclosed by Happen. But guess what happened? This is the data flow that we found when we analyzed the app. And as you all know, data flows aren't dangerous. They are perfectly legitimate reason to transfer data to third parties, storage, analytics, for example. But when you have a bold statement like that in your privacy policy, you better be careful about how you share data. And in this case, we tracked that reasonably precise data about the user's location, I think it was, I don't remember exactly, was sent to a marketing company in San Francisco. And that, of course, did not rhyme well with what they said in their privacy policy. So again, this created a bit of fuss. The French consumer organization, Choisir, sent a letter to the French Data Protection Commissioner, and Happen updated their terms in April as a result of this. I read the terms yesterday, and they're far from perfect, but they are much more informative now about how they share with third parties. So that's good news, and again, it shows that this sort of work is necessary, and it actually works.